Hello, dear ones. We are Laarkmaa, and we wish to make a special representation YouTube today to bring your awareness to something that many have not yet considered. Much of your world is dominated by religion. In fact, almost all of your world is dominated by religion, and wars are fought over what religions teach. However, religions that fight cause further and further separation. The only true religion is the religion of spirituality, which is your direct connection to your heart, to each other, to source, and to all that is. So we will speak of spirituality rather than religion. But we wish to bring forth something that may help you understand that you have dismissed an important part of recognition of your place and the cosmic awareness of cosmic citizenship. In your religious belief system that has been handed down for thousands of years, you have chosen to call a Pleiadian a god. You have chosen to see Jesus Christ, his wife Mary Magdalene, and whatever others you align with that tradition, particularly his mother, Mary, as humans who were, one, the mother bearing the birth of the child, two, the wife of the one who was the child to become sacred, was the one who was cast into a role of not being a good person, and three, the one who became the Messiah as turning into a god because he was recognized as a god. We say you have this all mixed up and confused. We want you to understand that just as we, Laarkmaa, one of six and six of one, have come to Earth to help humanity understand, explore, and evolve into higher awareness, another Pleiadian group came to Earth over 2,000 years ago. This Pleiadian group consisted of who you now call Mother Mary, the son that she bore called Jesus of Nazareth, and the wife that he chose called Mary Magdalene. All of these were Pleiadian energies who are not here to be seen as gods, but were here to be showing you how you yourself are connected to Source and are divine sparks of light. What you are taught or learned as miracles, you came to believe that only Christ or God could do. However, Jesus of Nazareth and his family were here to show you how you yourself are capable of doing all the things that he was teaching. Being able to heal yourselves, being able to be compassionate and loving to reflect healing into others through your love, being able to have abundance for all through sharing. All of these principles were brought to humanity from the Pleiadian perspective to help you move forward in your own evolution. We invite you to explore some of these principles as expressed or channeled, you would call the term, through Pia or Lean in the book Mary Magdalene's Daughter, The Story of Sarah. Pia will introduce you to this book in a few moments through an interview that was done with she and Cullen on a radio show conducted by Eden Cause. And it is a good introduction to ask questions and see things from a different point of view. Explore the book and listen to what we tell you about your belief systems of Jesus Christ as God, while thinking that you are less than God. You are not less than anything. You are each divine sparks of light, connected to Source and capable of all of the miracles that Christ was showing you how to do, and that his family continued to teach after he had ascended. This includes, of course, the ascension process, which we call, when we speak to you, ascending into rainbow body form. Take these things into your heart and meditate upon them as you discover the real truth of who you are. We love you. Good always.
Pia, why don't we go into your book? Is this a good segue too?
Segue for that.
Awesome. All right. Tell the title, would you mind?
Let me tell you a little bit about the book, and then I'll give you the title.
Okay.
born. So the book is about exactly what we're talking about now, revealing the truth. Because one of the greatest avenues of false prophecy has come out of the Christian church. It has been rewritten. What happened in the era of Christ and Mary has been rewritten so many times to align with the male patriarchy of control and getting people to do what they wanted them to do through manipulation. So the Christian church knows all the right words about service and generosity. They know all the right words, but they have set up a set of rules where you give to the church, whether that's giving your soul, which they talk about, or giving monetary tithes that they talk about, or giving your time to go listen to somebody else tell you what's the truth. Doesn't matter what it is. The Christian church has absolutely warped the idea of spirituality that I believe Christ was here to teach. So in summer of 2022, I was outside watering the lawn, which I do for being in nature. And every time I did that, which is a lot because it's really hot in the summer here, every time I did that, this voice started speaking to me and telling me things, and I'd have to put down the hose, run inside, get paper and pencil, and start writing things down. I did that all summer long, and I shoved them in a drawer. And when summer was over and fall and winter came, I forgot about it.
Can I interrupt?
Yeah.
This is nothing new. Pia hears voices all the time.
That's true.
When I'm taking a shower, watering the lawn. I mean, this is kind of what this is, isn't it? And let me add this too while we're talking, just so everybody knows, I have had the pleasure of reading Pia's book, and possibly will do a recommendation for that. So I believe in what personally she's talking about. All right, go ahead. Watering the lawn, all these notes, putting them away.
Thank you, Eden. I appreciate that. And Cullen's right. I do and have all of my life heard many voices, but this was a new one. This was somebody that felt very familiar to me, but I had never heard from before. So I did all the writing on bits and pieces of paper. I've put it to bed for the winter. This summer, I was out in the yard watering the grass, and Mary Magdalene came through with a real strong voice saying, "You've got 13 days to put that book together. 13 days. Start here, be finished by here." For 13 days, I did nothing but compile my notes, listen to the voice as she continued to speak to me, and Cullen took care of everything else for those 13 days. So that book, the title of it is Mary Magdalene's Daughter, the story of Sarah. And it's about Mary Magdalene and her husband Jesus, and about their family, Mother Mary, who the daughter Sarah calls Grandmother Mary, her brother Timaeus, who has never been mentioned anywhere that I'm aware of, and Sarah herself, who's never been mentioned anywhere that I'm aware of. But it's a very strong voice, and one of the key components of the book is that it mentions the connection of the wisdom that they are bringing, called the Way of Love, to the Pleiadian teachings that Cullen and I have been involved with for 20 years. The Way of Love is a Pleiadian path to ascension, higher consciousness, and raising your vibration to its highest potential. That's what the Way of Love is. That's what Christ and his wife, Mary Magdalene, were teaching. That's the way they raised their family. And the story goes through everything that Sarah experienced from the time that she was 12 years old and her father was crucified, all the way through her elder years, when she had her own children, her own family. It goes through telling the story of what her family's experience was, what it felt like to her, and what she was doing, and what her parents were doing at the time, the choices they made, the paths they took. It's an eye-opener for looking at Christianity in a different way, because Christianity is not in alignment with the Christian church. It is in modern culture, but it shouldn't be. It should be aligned with the Christ light that was within all of us and the path of the Way of Love. And that's what the book's about. So it's going to reveal a lot of Pleiadian teachings, the connections between Christ, Mary Magdalene, their family, and the Pleiadians, the stories of all the things that Sarah knows about ascension and duality, and all the things that we talk about in a higher state of awareness. They're explained from her perspective, which, as you have read, is pretty interesting.
And love, I guess love is the best way of love, that there have been sacred documents that have been discovered that Jesus was married.
Yes.
Yes.
So this isn't completely, oh my gosh, it's so out of the box. No, there have been truths shown to that. So I believe what you're magnifying is that truth and showing more.
I think so too. And the book can be found on my website and people can order it easily. It's interesting because what you're saying about the truth has been revealed already. To me, it's very interesting that Mary Magdalene was raised from the whore that she was always categorized by the Christian church because they didn't want anyone knowing that Christ was not celibate, that he was in a family situation in a loving, divine way. They didn't want that's part of the control of the Christian church. They didn't want that known. And since those documents have been discovered, the Catholic Church has now said, oh, well, we're going to name her a saint and we're going to give her a feast day. And that's the Christian church, Catholic Church's way of saying, we're going to make the best out of this mess that's been revealed because we can't hide it anymore.
And let me ask you guys, when I was younger, and it's really interesting because your book was, you had told me it was a quick read, and it was indeed. It was very so captivating that it was easy to go through as well. And it's funny as we talk about that, knowing that I'm preparing a book and it's taken me 7 years, but yet part of that has been I started in one direction with this infection that I had. So talking about the physical and the spiritual part of it, then suddenly seeing the Great Awakening and then seeing this book as, oh, my book's not so important anymore. This Great Awakening is so huge. And then bridging the gap between both of those. So it's been a huge experience. So imagining you doing this in 13 days is just amazing as well. So what was my point in this? Oh, my point was when I was trying to discover religion when I was around 9 or 10 years old, and I started reading the Bible and being female, it was so hard because women were whores, were dirty. And I'm just reading this as a kid going, oh, something, it just, again, parts of it being false, just from my heart, I could not relate to it because it made me feel bad about me. I didn't like it.
Well, that's in connection with my other book, Sacred Retreat, which is all about how Christianity turned women's cycles into being something nasty and dirty and get away from. Indigenous tribes all over the planet honored the time of women's bleeding because it is only women that give birth. So women had bleeding to get rid of everything they needed to get rid of from the previous month. The lining of the uterus that did not make a child, the arguments they'd had with their husband or their community, their negative emotions, whatever they were purged once a month, and they did it together. And the whole community left the women alone to do their work. And the second part of their work was bringing forth new ideas, creativity, how are we going to move forward? Christian church didn't like this. They decided to burn women as witches for being aligned with nature, and to call the 13 cycles that women have as 13 is an unlucky evil number, and to brand women as you're dirty, you're less than, hide your cycles, nobody should talk about this, it's not speakable. So all that's discussed in Sacred Retreat, but it's directly tied in with what you're talking about. And the key to both of those misinformation sources is the church.
What I like about this book is if people are willing to read this information, if they're willing to absorb the possibility that this is a better story than the altered story that Pia and you have just described, what I hope is that this will be an opening for people to fill in the blanks in the way that you just mentioned, Eden, about this didn't feel comfortable. I didn't believe what I was reading. This didn't make sense to me. My hope is the people that pick up this book and read it and maybe even tell a friend about it, I hope it will dispel so many myths, so many untruths that we have been trained to believe all of these 2 millennia of time between when these activities were taking place and all of intervening years where the rewriting, the restoring, the altering of the true facts never should have happened. So I'm hoping that this is really going to open a lot of eyes and hearts.
Thank you. I don't know if I've ever shared this with you, Eden, or on your show, but I find it something that's a little light that fits in right here. When I was a child, my best friend's father was a minister, and I was raised in a Christian church. And she and I always had deep talks. And when I was 6, 7 years old, I was asking her father so many questions that he finally resigned from the church. He said, this child knows.
Yes, you did talk about that. Okay.
Hey, this book is full circle from me for things that I knew at an intuitive level at 6 years old, and was asking questions about trying to awaken somebody in the church. And he wound up leaving the church, but I wasn't in a place for my voice to be heard then. I am in a place for my voice to be heard now. And I hope that it helps people to re-examine what they believe and find the truth in their own hearts.
Same with me. I'm going to parallel to my book for a second. It talks about God and source so much. And it's so funny coming from being a child where I felt like I didn't fit into any faith, to any religion, that suddenly I'm just like pontificating it with strength and just same thing, using my voice and feeling so comfortable with it and so good about it. It's so amazing how these cycles come. And it just makes me smile. And let me add in that too, God, source, Jesus, it's all about love. So when you connect to the heart, anything that's about judgment or you're not enough or any of that, that is not true at all. You are love, people. Aren't they?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. We have had so much what I call bad training. We have been told so many things that aren't true about us, particularly individually, as you just said, but about the whole world. There are so many things that we have swallowed that maybe made us uncomfortable, but we didn't know how to say no, or we didn't know how to say, I don't believe that. And I think now is the time. I think in our evolution as a species, as a culture, now is the time for people to begin to reverse that bad training.